Hello, our group will discuss about Malaysia's foreign policy under Datuk Sri Najib Razak. To begin with the background, Najib's era was defined by pragmatic engagement. He shifted our international focus from political rhetoric to functional diplomacy that served national interest. A key highlight was his 2010 United Nations speech, where he introduced the Global Movement of Moderates (GMM). This was a strategic move to position Malaysia as a soft power leader, promoting moderation to counter global Islamophobia. He also practiced strategic hedging, ensuring Malaysia benefit from both US security cooperation and China's economic rise. Moving on to the evolution of our foreign policy, Najib's approach was a clear departure from the Mahathirist doctrine. While the previous era was often confrontational toward the West, Najib adopted quiet diplomacy. He prioritized building personal relationships, most notably his Gulf diplomacy with President Obama, which upgraded Malaysia and United States ties to a comprehensive partnership. Furthermore, he evolved the Look East policy by centering China as a primary economic engine, moving from an identity-driven policy to a market-driven one to suit the 21st century global landscape. Why do Najib adopt these strategies? It was largely due to the domestic factors. To achieve the goals of the new economic model, NEM, Malaysia needed massive foreign investment. Thus, foreign policy became an extension of domestic economic needs. Najib used the One Malaysia brand to project stability to global investors. However, he also balanced this with humanitarian diplomacy. By being vocal about the Rohingya and Palestinian issues, he aligned his foreign actions with the sentiments of the Malay Muslim electorate, effectively using international platforms to strengthen his domestic political standing. The objectives of this study are fourfold. First, we aim to analyze how the concept of moderation shaped our international identity. Second, we will evaluate how economic pragmatism helped Malaysia navigate the US-China rivalry. Third, we will look at how Najib's personal diplomacy secured high-impact bilateral deals. And lastly, we will assess the various challenges and criticism faced by his administration during the period. That concludes my part. Thank
Let's
you.
begin with analysis of 4 key ideas of international relation. First, global movement of moderates, GMM. Second, economic diplomacy. Third, multi-alignment strategy. And fourth, Asian regional cooperation. GMM was first introduced by former Malaysian Prime Minister Najib Razak during the 65th United Nations General Assembly back in 2010. It was a significant moment on the global stage for Malaysia's foreign policy. The main goal for this movement was to unite what is often called the silent majority. The idea was to give a louder voice to those who stand against extremism and hatred, ensuring that moderate perspective prevail in international discourse. At its heart, the GMM promotes the 3 key values: peace, tolerance, and global cooperation. Because of its focus on bridging divides, it is widely considered one of Najib's most significant contributions to the field of international relations. Moving into section 3.1, we delve deeper into geopolitical pressure and sovereignty. This section highlights the complex environment Malaysia had to navigate to remain an effective player on the world stage. The most significant challenge was managing relations between 2 global superpowers, the United States and China. Because Malaysia has strong economic and security interests tied to both nations, any diplomatic move required a careful balancing act to avoid friction. While dealing with these global pressures, our top priority remained maintaining national sovereignty. It was essential that Malaysia made decisions based on its own national interests rather than being forced into a direction by external power. To handle this, Malaysia practiced a policy of multi-alignment. This means actively engaging with multiple partners and international blocs without strictly taking sides. By doing so, we could maintain our independence while still benefiting from diverse global relationships.
Okay, so I will explain about the economic diplomacy and foreign direct investment (FDI) in Malaysia. The Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI, was launched by China in 2013 under President Xi Jinping. It aims to strengthen cooperation between countries in areas such as trade, investment and infrastructure development to improve global connectivity and economic growth. Malaysia has been one of the early supporters of this initiative, especially during the administration of Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak. The government viewed the BRI as an opportunity to attract foreign direct investment, improve infrastructure and strengthen economic and diplomacy relations with China, which is one of Malaysia's key trading partners. One of the most important projects under the BRI in Malaysia is the East Coast Rail Link, or ECRL. This railway connects Port Klang in Selangor to Kota Baru in Kelantan, passing through several East Coast states such as Pahang and Terengganu. The ECRL improves transportation efficiency, reduce travel time and enhance logistics for businesses. Besides that, it creates job opportunities and stimulates economic development in less developed regions, helping to reduce the economic gap between the east and west coast of Peninsular Malaysia. So overall, the BRI and ECRL show how economic diplomacy can support Malaysia's economic growth and strengthen the international cooperation.
Now, I will present on Najib Razak's role in the Bangsamoro peace process in southern Philippines. The conflict took place in Mindanao between the Philippine government and the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. It was a long-term armed conflict that caused instability, death, poverty, and displacement, affecting many families. During Najib's leadership, Malaysia acted as a neutral mediator, trusted by both sides. It helped promote peaceful negotiations through diplomacy. Malaysia hosted and facilitated peace talks, focusing on dialogue instead of violence and supporting long-term peace building. This process was important for regional stability in Southeast Asia. It helped prevent the conflict from spreading and strengthen cooperation between countries in the region. One of the major successes was the 2012 Framework Agreement on the Bangsamoro. Both sides agreed to work towards peace and establish self-governance for the Bangsamoro people. Malaysia also joined the International Monitoring Team. Its role was to observe the ceasefire, ensure compliance, and help reduce violence on the ground. In conclusion, Najib Razak played an important role in supporting the peace process. Malaysia's involvement improved regional stability and showed the importance of diplomacy over conflict. Next, I will present on Najib Razak's role in mediating the peace dialogue in Southern Ireland. The conflict took place in Patani, Yala, Narathiwat, and part of Songkhla, where many Muslim communities live. It was caused by long-standing feelings of inequality such as culture, religion, and political rights, which led to violence and instability. During his leadership, Malaysia acted as a natural mediator. Najib Razak emphasized peaceful solutions through diplomacy and dialogue. Malaysia was trusted due to its strong relationship with Thailand and its cultural understanding of the local community. In 2013, Malaysia facilitated peace talks between the Thai government and the Barisan Revolusi Nasional (BRN), providing a safe platform for negotiations. Although the conflict was not fully resolved, the peace dialogue brought several benefits. Violence reduced temporarily during negotiations and communication between both sides improved. It also increased attention to the rights and needs of the Malay Muslim community, including religion, education, and culture. In addition, the process created hope for long-term peace and improved stability compared to earlier years. Malaysia's involvement also strengthened its reputation in Asia as a country that promotes peace and diplomacy. In conclusion, Najib Razak played an important role in facilitating peace efforts in southern Thailand. While the conflict continues, the dialogue helped reduce violence, build trust, and encourage cooperation.
For this section, I will explain about Malaysia's strategy in balancing relations between the United States and China during the leadership of Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak. Under Najib administration, Malaysia practiced a foreign policy approach known as multi-alignment or hedging strategy. This means Malaysia did not fully depend on or support only one major power. Instead, Malaysia maintained good diplomatic and economic relations with both the United States and China based on national interests. First, Malaysia continued to strengthen relations with the United States in areas such as defense, security, cooperation, counterterrorism, education, and trade. The United States was an important partner for Malaysia, especially in maintaining regional security and economic investment. Many American companies also invest in Malaysia, especially in technology and manufacturing sector. At the same time, Malaysia also strengthened the relationship with China, which became one of Malaysia's biggest trading partners. Under Najib, Malaysia participated in China's Belt and Road Initiative, or BRI. Through this cooperation, Malaysia received investment in infrastructure projects such as the East Coast Rail Link, or ECRL, which aim to improve transportation and economic connectivity. Overall, Najib's approach shows that Malaysians wanted to maintain a balanced relationship with both powers without choosing sides. This strategy helped Malaysia protect its independence, maintain regional stability, and gain economic and strategic benefit from both countries. Next, I will explain Malaysia's strategic relation with Saudi Arabia and Middle Eastern countries during Najib's administration. Malaysia strengthened its relationship with Saudi Arabia and the Middle East through cooperation in politics, economy, religions, and security. As a Muslim-majority country, Malaysia shares close cultural and religious connections with many Middle Eastern nations in terms of economic cooperation. Saudi Arabia became one of the important investors in Malaysia, especially in sectors such as energy, infrastructure, and Islamic finance. Malaysia also benefited from cooperation in the halal industry and Islamic banking, which helped strengthen Malaysia's position as a global Islamic finance hub. Besides that, Malaysia also worked closely with Middle Eastern countries through international organizations such as the Organization of Islamic Cooperation, or OIC. Through this platform, Malaysia participated in discussion regardless issues affecting Muslim countries and global peace. In terms of security, Malaysia and Saudi Arabia cooperated in combating terrorism and extremism. This cooperation was important in ensuring regional and international stability. In conclusion, Malaysia's relation with Saudi Arabia and the Middle East helped strengthen the country's economy, diplomatic influence, and role in the Muslim world. This also reflects Najib's multi-alignment strategy in building partnership with different regions to protect Malaysia's national interests.
We have discussed the core concepts and initiatives. It is important to look at the other side of the coin, the challenges in implementing international relations are ideas. Najib's foreign policy did not exist in a vacuum. It faced significant geopolitical and domestic challenges. On the home front, maintaining consistent domestic political support was a major concern, as international initiatives often require internal stability to be effective. One of the tough tasks for Malaysia was balancing relations with major global powers while simultaneously protecting our national sovereignty. As a middle power, Malaysia found itself in a delicate position, facing pressure from both China and the United States. Navigating the interests of these two giants required extreme diplomatic precision to ensure we didn't lean too far in one direction at the expense of our own interests. Finally, economic sustainability was a constant concern. Implementing broad ideas required a long-term financial backing and resources, making it a challenge to keep these programs running effectively over many years. Moving into section 3.1 with the deeper into geopolitical pressure and sovereignty. This section highlights the complex environment Malaysia had to navigate to remain an effective player on the world stage. The most significant challenge was managing relations between two global superpowers, the United States and China, because Malaysia has strong economic and security interests tied to both nations. Any diplomatic move required a careful balancing act to avoid friction. While dealing with these global pressures, our top priority remained maintaining national sovereignty. It was essential that Malaysia made decisions based on its own national interests rather than being forced into a direction by external power. To handle this, Malaysia practiced a policy of multi-alignment. This means actively engaging with multiple partners and international blocs without strictly taking sides. By doing so, we could maintain our independence while still benefiting from diverse global relationships. Now, let's discuss one of the most significant challenges in our regional policy, the South China Sea disputes and regional stability. This is where theoretical diplomacy meets very real territorial stakes. The core issues here is that China maritime claims overlap significantly with Malaysia's exclusive economic zone (EEZ) in Sabah and Sarawak. This creates a delicate situation because at the same time, Malaysia depended heavily on economic cooperation with China, particularly through the Belt and Road Initiative. To manage this, Malaysia adopted a strategy of quiet diplomacy. The goal was threefold. First, to protect our territorial integrity without damaging those vital economic ties. Second, to avoid any direct confrontation with Beijing. And third, to maintain Asian centrality, ensuring that the region remained peaceful and united. However, this was complicated by external pressure from the United States, which pushed Malaysia to take a much stronger stance against China. Failing to balance this pressure correctly carried high risks, including a potential regional security crisis, the escalation of maritime conflict, and the weakening of Asian unity.
Okay, so I will explain about the domestic and financial constraint that happened in Malaysia. During Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak's administration, Malaysia actively attracted foreign direct investment or FDI from countries such as China, Japan, and the United States through economic diplomacy. This strategy was aimed at strengthening the national economy and improving Malaysia's position in global trade and investment. FDI brought many benefits to Malaysia. It contributed to economic growth, created more job opportunities, and encouraged technology transfer from advanced countries. It also helped develop Malaysia's industrial and trade sectors, making the country more competitive at the international level. However, there were also risks and challenges. Malaysia became more dependent on foreign investors to sustain economic growth. If these countries face economic downturns or withdrew their investments, it could negatively affect Malaysia's economy, leading to slower growth and unemployment. In addition, mega projects such as the East Coast Rail Link or ECRL, which cost around 75 billion ringgit, also raise concerns about high national debt and long-term financial budgets. Therefore, it is important for the government to carefully manage foreign investment to ensure balanced development and long-term economic sustainability.
In conclusion, Najib Razak played an important role in supporting the peace process. Malaysia's involvement improved regional stability and showed the importance of diplomacy over conflict.